Every now and then you come across a moveset or ability and passive combination during classic mode that carries your run like you never expected. And I thought I'd just share this one because this moveset is broken on so many levels, it's not even fair. I've used some combination of similar moves like this before, like in one of the previous videos, Electros had quite a similar moveset. And I think it's probably the safest way to get through Classic outside of having just an incredibly strong sweeper that kills everything in one hit. It basically goes like this. You have a setup move like Bulk Up or Calm Mind that increases an attack and defense stat at the same time. And then you have Strength Sap to recover health and debilitate your opponent at the same time. Then you have some decent coverage moves that aren't resisted. So in this case with Dusknoir, we have Drain Punch for even better recovery options, and we have Shadow Punch that has Stab, but it also gives us access to Fighting Ghost coverage, which isn't resisted by anything except for that normal Ghost Pokemon in Legends, which I did run into earlier in this run, so I had to kill it with Spiritomb. But apart from that, it's some of the best 2-type coverage in the game, Fighting and Ghost. I wasn't planning on recording any of this run, because I was just farming a few candies on Ghost types, ready for a Mono Ghost run in the future. But I 6-0'd the first Elite Four guy with Dusknoir, and I realised, I already 6-0'd the 1-4-5 fight with this guy, and I nearly 6-0'd Cyrus with it too. I should probably hit record and get some Elite Four footage just to show how broken it can be. So we tear through Phoebe and Glacier without any problems at all. And you're probably thinking, okay, sure, but their type is weak to your coverage moves, so that's not that impressive. But Drake is even easier. He doesn't switch Druddigon out, he gets locked into Outrage and becomes setup fodder instead. So we can just Strength Sap or Drain Punch if we feel at all threatened by anything. Even his special attackers can't really break through Dusknoir's bulk. Steven is very much the same thing. He leads with a physical attacking Skarmory, and that just lets us set up for free. We get to +6 and it's a clean sweep. He's got no safe switch-ins because our coverage is near perfect with Fighting Ghost attacks, so the AI doesn't even risk switching in. I think that's quite important because we all know the AI cheats to make the game more difficult, and I'm okay with that. The game has to be difficult somehow. But the way it cheats is by knowing your team and your movesets, and then giving the AI a team that I believe is selected from a pool of Pokemon that the character is likely to use, and then it gives those Pokemon movesets that can hit you super effective. So even though this Pokemon, what's it called? Okay, Hoyle says I should just give this a go and try to pronounce it without asking for any help. Look, I haven't played the Legends games, so I didn't even know that this Pokemon existed until I started playing Pokérogue. So I'm just going to give it a go at naming this thing. Hisuian Zoroark. That sounds about right. I don't know. So even though his Hisuian Zoroark might completely wall this set, Steven Stone doesn't have Zoroark in his pool of potential Pokemon, and nor does the rival. In fact, the way the rival selects his team is that the Pokemon he adds to his team after wave 25 will all have a final base stat total of 540 or higher. So you'll actually know if he's going to have a Zoroark by wave 25, because Zoroark has, I think, base 510 stats, so it will never be in the Pokemon selected after that. You can check the wiki for more info on that if you like, because it's actually quite interesting how the teams are selected. But yeah, so we've got a moveset that can set up on pretty much any physical attacker in the game, on a Pokemon tanky enough to take a critical hit and recover from it. I think Strength Sap is another one of those moves that you can really exploit against the AI. It's so good against things like Ray and Druddigon earlier that just lock themselves into Outrage. If you're struggling with Classic mode for whatever reason, I know some people do, that's okay. Try just slowing down the game a little with moves like Strength Sap, or the Protect moves that have added effects. Baneful Bunker, Burning Bulwark, they're incredibly useful for being able to scout surprise moves. And they're quite common as egg moves on Pokemon as well, you can get them quite easily. Burning Bulwark especially is really, really good. It's a free burn on a lot of Pokemon that make contact with you, physical attackers. I also can't stress enough how important X items are in Classic, especially X Special Defense, but especially X Speed. Obviously, X Special Defense is important for fighting Eternatus, and I would recommend re-rolling for it with all of your cash on the final few waves. But X Speed can swing the rival fights in ways that you wouldn't believe. You'll see Dusknoir outspeeding all sorts of Pokemon it's got no business outspeeding in this run. It is jolly, with a couple of Carbos I think, but the X Speed lets it outrun things like King Gambit and not have to take a Kowtow Cleave. It can be the difference between outspeeding Ray for a turn before it starts getting its boosts in. It's just so valuable. For these big fights, you should be taking the X items in the 5 waves before the fight, always. So I've talked about this Dusknoir and how broken the moveset is, but it doesn't stop at the moveset, because Dusknoir also gets Unnerve as a passive, which is one of the best passive abilities in the game, as it stops opponents from using berries at all. This makes it a boss killer. You're not going to get caught off guard against the rival. The rival has berries on everything. And you're especially not going to have a problem with Eternatus, because now you can throw as many berries as you like on Dusknoir and not have to worry about them getting stolen. And as if that wasn't enough, this Dusknoir has one more secret weapon for completely trivializing the Eternatus fight, and that's pressure. Eternatus' first form uses Eternabeam, which only has 5 PP. That means he's getting 3 uses out of it, which you can easily shrug off with Strength Sap. After that, he's stuck using Sludge Bomb, which you resist with Ghost typing, so getting to +6 Bulk Ups against his first form is incredibly easy. While it would have been fun to solo the entire Elite Four, the 195 fight, and the 200 fight, all with just one Pokemon, I did need a little bit of help to take Eternatus down, only because I ran out of PP. So that's all I wanted to talk about really. Just a bit of advice on Classic mode and sharing this broken moveset. I'm doing Mono Ghost next, which I've already done once, but it was before the challenge mode update, so I don't think I have the ribbon for it yet. I've set myself a challenge of doing it without using Curse, because I think that would be too easy, because Ghost type Curse just trivializes Eternatus. It's so strong. It's probably stronger than Salt Cure. Don't worry though, I have a plan.